Thank you, thank you. All right, so it's statistics. We love them, we tweet them, we share them, we use them to make decisions. But there's a problem with data and statistics is that we don't always know if they're true. But yet we actually accept them as fact a lot of the time, and that can be a problem. Statistics are the art of never having to say you're wrong. There's also another famous saying that goes, there's 3 ways to not tell the truth: lies, damn lies, and statistics. And this is one of the problems, is that statistics can be manipulated. They can be used to further one's agenda. And this is why a lot of people say a lot of statistical data is made up. So what we're going to do here is we're going to look at a couple of charts and graphs, which is a popular way of presenting statistical data, as we've seen tonight. And I'm going to show you a couple of examples of the way that data can be manipulated or misrepresented. The benefits of charts and graphs, as we know, is that they can be used to make a comparison, show a relationship, or highlight a trend. Pictures are worth 1,000 words, which is why that we use these frequently. So this first chart that we have coming up here shows Twitter as if it were 100 people. In this chart, you can see on the left that 20 accounts would be dead accounts, 50 would be lazy accounts. The top 5 would be people that have more than 100 followers, and the bottom 5 are the loudmouths that generate 75% of the tweets. These 20 gray things are just misrepresented. There's nothing there to label them. But what's really bad about this chart is that some of them are subsets of other groups. The 5 that have more than 100 followers are likely also the loudmouths, and it's possible that the 50 lazy people could also be part of the group that has more than 100 followers. Charts really should be used to simplify. This is a terrible example of a chart, because if you look at this, it's just a mess, right? You don't know where to go, you don't know where to start. Don't do this, okay? So when you use charts, make it simple. This is an example of a chart that gets it wrong on all levels. All right. The title of this is called Job Loss by Quarter. This is not job loss by quarter, it's actually total number of unemployed. But the real issues here are with the data points. You can see that there's different one line here to make a straight comparison, but there's different gaps between the points in the line. There's also randomly selected dates to try to help create this implication of constant growth here. So this is wrong on several different levels. If you actually looked at this data correctly and spaced it out, the chart would look more like this. It would have more of an upswing at the beginning. It would even out in the latter half of this. But of course, that's not what they wanted to convey in this chart. This is also being looked at in a very negative way. If you take data that is looking at the actual number of jobs created, you're going to see that there's actually a net positive at the end of this chart. That's, of course, not in their best interest to display, so they didn't show it in that way. Now, this isn't something that only happens on one side of the political spectrum. This is something that happens across the board. Here's a chart by a liberal organization. The chart really is based on this data on the left. Those black bars are the real data. This is showing the number of jobs created during different administrations. You can see that the author of this chart has chosen to push the blue lines much further than the red. But in some cases here, the red data is actually more positive than the blue data. You can see the 15 there and the 9 on the right, okay? So this was obviously manipulated to showcase what they wanted it to showcase. So these are the problems that we experience with looking at charts and graphs. You have to actually dig into the numbers, right? So what you want to really do is ask yourself a couple questions when you're reviewing statistical data. So the 4 that you really want to concentrate on are, number 1, who's actually gathering the data? Thought I had this time better. All right, so who did the study? You want to make sure that the organization doing the study is reputable, they're unbiased, that they're going to do this in a way that is, according to scientific process. So make sure that whoever conducted the data is doing it properly. The second thing is, what are the statistics measuring? You really want to understand the intent behind the gathering of this data, because once you understand that, you may actually understand why this is being done in the first place. The third thing that you want to do is understand who was asked. The people you want to actually look for a large sampling of data. Hopefully there's like a large group of people, and the people who were asked the questions, hopefully they were asked things that were not based on opinion and belief, but things that were hard, factual data that can be replicated. And the last thing is, how were they asked? The timing and the circumstance under the conditions in which they were asked. If you ask someone who hasn't eaten in 5 days if they like pizza, you're probably going to get a positive response, right? If you ask someone who's eaten pizza for 5 days straight if they like pizza, maybe not so much. So understanding that's imperative. So really what we're trying to do here is not condemn the use of data and statistics, but just make sure that what you're looking at is hard factual data and not just soft, fluffy information, right? All right. So Statistics are no substitute for judgment. So before you tweet something or share something, or use it to make a decision, make sure you understand the actual numbers. Peel back the layers, dig into this a little bit, use it to educate yourself, and use that to make your decision, okay? Thank you.
That's awesome.